Good morning, afternoon, or whenever it is that you are accessing this video. This is the first in a few lectures involving music theory and music reading that we are going to be doing for the Baxter Band Department or Baxter Music Department. And this particular video is a lesson that a few of you have done in class already. So if you feel like you need to skip it, go ahead and just go straight on to the assignment. But if you need a refresher or if this is new to you, then continue watching. Our first lesson in talking about music and notes is talking about the distance in between notes. And as wind players, we don't often talk about it because we don't really know the distance between notes. We just know our various fingerings for our various notes, and we don't know how close they are together. And that is why we've got a piano graphic in front of us, because a piano shows exactly how far away notes are from each other. And this is a relationship that you need to learn. So the first thing we are going to do, and what you are going to do on your own documents, is label each of these notes and understand where the notes fall on the keyboard so that you can start understanding where the notes fall on your instrument or on a music staff. So the first note that we are going to identify is C, which is the first note on the left here. That's just where this particular graphic starts. We didn't have to start with C, but this is C on a piano keyboard. Now, as we go up each of the white keys on the piano, the notes just go up by letter in alphabetical order, as we've talked about several times in class. And this particular graphic starts at C and goes all the way up to C again and a few notes past that. As we get higher, we can continue on with F and G, A, B, C, going further up, or you can go lower. Below C, there's another B and then an A, etc. as you go down. And this is this is pretty standard stuff that you should know from your instrument, that as we go up notes one by one, the letters go up one by one. But in this particular video, we're going to be talking about the concept of the half step. And basically, what we need to understand is that a half step in music is the distance between two notes that are right next to each other, two notes that have no notes in between. And that is a distance between the notes that we are going to pay attention to. And to do that, we are going to be looking at these black keys right here. Now, the black keys on the piano, those are notes as well. And those notes fall in between two white keys. Not every two white keys has a black key in between them, and we'll talk about that later. But we need to look at the black keys and name them and talk about the distance of the half step between various notes. So let's talk about that. So first we're going to be talking about sharps and flats. And again, these are terms that you have heard before, just as names of notes. We play B flats all the time. We play E flats. Saxophones play F sharps. But we just name those notes without exactly talking about what they are and what they mean. So in this video, we're going to be talking about how a sharp means one half step above and how a flat means 1/2 step below. And these are the terms that we use to name the black keys that are on the piano. So if we take a look at this first key right here, this black key that is in between C and D, we have to talk about where it is, which is a 1/2 step above C. All right, so if this note is C, then this note is a 1/2 step right above it. And if that's the case, we call it C sharp. Now, hopefully that makes sense. A key right above, a 1/2 step right above the C is called C sharp, and that black key is called C sharp. In class, this would usually be the time when I would ask if I've lost anybody or if you have any questions, but I can't do that, so hopefully you're following along. We will continue on talking about sharps for each of the keys going up. This next black key right after it is 1/2 step above D, so we would call it a D sharp. Following along, all of the black keys that are 1/2 step above the ones to their left get a sharp assigned to it. And that is how we would name the black keys on the piano. But, and this is a kind of a confusing part, we can also give them another name because every black key is a 1/2 step above a note, but it is also a 1/2 step below. So this first black key again, which is a 1/2 step above C, is also a 1/2 step below D. So we could also call it D flat. The next one is a 1/2 step below E, so we would call that E flat. We continue on with that trend, labeling each of these keys flats based on the fact that they're a 1/2 step lower than the keys to their right. Now you should have access to a blank piano keys sheet, and to finish the assignments that will be related to this lesson, you should fill out your piano keys sheet just like this. It should have the white keys labeled C, D, E, F, G, etc. And you should also be labeling your black keys, which can have two names, a 1/2 step above the white keys and a 1/2 step below the white keys as well. You can definitely use this particular video to write down the answers if you are confused, but this is kind of the basis, the first step into figuring out how notes work and how music works, how key signatures work, because we need to understand how notes are named and how they are named properly. So moving on past this, your first assignment will be to kind of make sure that you understand this particular concept, and you'll be asked various questions like what is the note a 1/2 step above, and it can be whatever. All right, let's say a 1/2 step above D. So you need to look at find D, and then find what note is a 1/2 step above it, which would not be the E, but instead would be this black key right above it, a half step above D, and your answer would be D sharp. Or you could say E flat. Either name would be fine for your answer. Same would be the question for a half step above A. All right, you would find the A, look at the black key that's right above it, and the answer would be an A sharp or a B flat. Then we would look at questions like, what is a half step above B, which is, I don't know, it could be a confusing answer or maybe even a simpler answer. But when you look at the B, there is no there is no black key in between. So the next key right above the B is a C. So the answer for a half step above B would be a C. You'll also have questions that are, what notes are a half step below a certain example, and you would work it out the same way. But our first step to understanding music is knowing what a half step is and knowing all of the notes and how they are named. So please complete your first assignments regarding this, and we will move on to understanding music a little bit better. So that's it for the first lesson. Stay classy.